Lesson 4-6, Writing Equations. Let's imagine that you have a plant that is currently 8 inches tall. Let's draw a little plant here. Okay, so our plant is currently 8 inches tall. And it grows at a rate of 2 inches per week. My question to you is, how tall will it be after, let's say, 3 weeks? Please excuse my extremely messy handwriting. How tall will it be after 3 weeks? Well, it's currently 8 inches tall. So that's going to be our starting point. 8 plus, it's growing at an average rate of 2 inches per week. So 8 plus 2 times the number of weeks, 3 weeks. Okay, so solving this expression, 2 times 3 is 6, and 6 plus 8 is 14. So after 3 weeks, the plant will be 14 inches tall. Now, what if I wanted to write an equation that could be used to represent any number of weeks? In this case, I was asking you specifically how tall will it be after 3 weeks. But what if I wanted to write an equation for this situation that would allow me to plug in any value for the number of weeks? Let's see what that would look like. Alright, so our plant is still 8 inches tall starting out, and it's still growing at an average rate of 2 inches per week. So our starting point will always be 8, right? 8 inches, its current height, plus its rate of 2 inches per week, times the number of weeks. But instead of plugging in a specific value for the number of weeks, right, like before I said 3 weeks, I'm going to plug in a variable. I'm going to use W to represent the number of weeks. And you can use any variable. You can use X, you can use Y, you can use T. Remember, a variable is simply a letter that represents a number. Okay? So 8 plus 2W would represent the height of the plant after W weeks. Okay, now why is this useful? Well, with this equation now, I can plug in any value of W and figure out the height of the plant after a certain number of weeks. For example, what would the height of this plant be after, let's say, 5 weeks? Well, 8 plus 2, plugging in 5 for W. 8 plus 2 times 5 equals 2 times 5 is 10, plus 8 is 18 inches. So after 5 weeks, the plant would be 18 inches tall. How tall would this plant be after 10 weeks? Well, instead of W, we'll plug in 10. 8 plus 2 times 10 equals, well, 2 times 10 is 20, and 20 plus 8 is 28. So the plant would be 28 inches after 10 weeks, 28 inches tall. Okay? Let me ask you another question. After how many weeks would the plant be 30 inches tall? So, in that case, I'm asking you to solve for a different variable, right? Using the same equation, 8 plus 2W equals our height. My question now is, after how many weeks will the plant be 30 inches tall? So in this case, I'm giving you this value. I am telling you that the height is 30. The final height is 30. So that means we have to figure out the value for W, the number of weeks. After how many weeks will it be 30 inches tall? Well, we have a two-step equation to solve, which we are very familiar with by this point. The first step would be to subtract 8 from each side. And we are left with 2w equals 22. And the opposite of multiplying by 2 is dividing by 2 on each side. And w equals 22 divided by 2, which is 11 weeks. Which means the plant will be 30 inches tall after 11 weeks. Okay, let's try another one. Let's say Bill is X years old. We don't know how old he is. We're going to figure it out. Bill is X years old. His dad is 32 years older than Bill. The sum of their ages is 50. How old are Bill and his dad? Oops. Okay. So the question, Bill is X years old. His dad is 32 years older than Bill. The sum of their ages is 50. How old are Bill and his dad? Well, if Bill is X years old and his dad is 32 years older than Bill, then his dad's age can be represented by X plus 32, right? Because the problem is telling us that Bill is X years old and his dad is 32 years older than that. So his dad must be Bill's age, X, plus 32 more. Okay? And the question says the sum of their ages is 50. Well, what operation is the word sum telling us to perform? Well, sum is the result of an addition problem. So our equation would be Bill's age, X, plus his dad's age, X plus 32, equals 50, because it's telling us the sum of their ages is 50. And once again, X represents Bill's age, that's X. X plus 32 represents his dad's age, right? Because he's 32 years older than Bill. Okay? So let's combine our like terms here. On the left-hand side of this equation, we have 1x plus 1x. Right, we have 1x plus 1x, which is 2x, bringing down the rest of our equation. 2x plus 32 equals 50. Now we have a two-step equation. We will subtract 32 from each side. Myself a little more room. And we're left with 2x equals, what is 50 minus 32? Well, that's 18. Dividing by 2 on each side tells us that x equals 9. Now we're not finished because the question says, how old are Bill and his dad? So we figured out Bill's age, right? Because x represents Bill's age. So we know Bill is 9. So how are we going to figure out his dad's age? Well, remember, his dad's age is 32 more, okay, than his age. Okay, so if Bill's age is 9, his dad's age is going to equal x plus 32, right? And if x is 9, then 9 plus 32 would give us his dad's age. So 9 plus 32 is 41. So These are our two solutions. Bill is 9, and his dad is 41.